of Comic Relievers. Today we are going to bring you the first episode of many in a original baseball podcast. My name's Mikey, and today we're going to talk about just a little bit about each team heading into the 2018 regular season. Touch a little bit on each team, a little bit of the news going into the regular season coming out of the spring, and then we're going to open it up a little bit and talk about how we can interact with our viewers through our Twitter page. But for starters, let's just jump right in. So in the AL East, obviously, the Yankees got Giancarlo Stanton. Obviously, you've heard about that. If you haven't, you are not a baseball fan. And it's definitely going to, I guess you could say, bring back the rivalry. I don't know how you describe that. It really hasn't been much of a rivalry the past few years, but JD Martinez is heading to Boston, and that's kind of the counter that the Sox had in mind, and I think it was their best move possible with who was left on the table. To be honest, Joe, I don't know. What do you think about JD? You think it's enough to match up with Stanton?
No, absolutely not.
No.
No. It's I think JD Martinez is going to be, I'm not going to say a bust, but I think that he's not going to put up the numbers that he did in the last year. I think that
Not even with that monster in left field?
No, I really don't. I think that he'll drop a few, obviously, but the Sox have this thing for signing people who just came off good years and they end up failing miserably. Kyle Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez, Pablo Sandoval, they just have a terrible track record, so I'm not going to trust anything they do.
Fair enough.
I never will. Also, to touch on the Sox-Yankees rivalry, it's dead.
Okay.
If it's got to come back, then it's going to come back new. It's not the same rivalry that it was. It's going to be a totally different setup. It's going to be different, obviously different names, but it's not going to be near as much as it used to be.
I agree.
I think that could be due to a few things. Off the top of my head, one of them, the MLB is going away from aggressive baseball, I want to say. So they're going away from throwing at people. They're going away from collisions at the plate. They're going away from arguing. I mean, if you see two guys arguing, they go to commercial break. So especially in a rivalry like this, it's killing it. It's absolutely killing it. And especially the Red Sox, who have the most ridiculous ownership in the world, who pander to fans of like any kind. If you say that you're uncomfortable around fastballs being too close to the head, they'll tell their players not to throw at your head. Like that's the Red Sox. I hate them as much as I love them. So
fair enough. All right. So now my next point about the Sox Yankees goes to Mr. Zach over there. I know you can appreciate this as a pitcher. I do not see the Yankees rotation being able to outlast the Red Sox as long as everyone is healthy. I do think the Yankees will hit more home runs as a lineup as a whole, but I also think their strikeouts will be close to double what the Red Sox put up. I mean, you got Sanchez, Stanton, and Judge. Yeah, they put up a lot of bombs, but they strike out a ton.
Yeah, I think that's going to be their biggest thing. I think it's exactly that. I think they, like you said, their heart of their lineup may be scary, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be consistently producing, doing all this and that. Guys like Judge, that was his number one thing everyone talked about last year was his strikeout numbers. And I agree with what Joe said about the rivalry being dead. I think that has a lot to do with just the fact that all these guys are friends now. Everyone in the league seems to be friends with each other. It's too easy to just always be in contact all the time. So I think it's a lot tougher to find teams that truly dislike each other like they used to, like the old Yankees-Red Sox rivalry.
One thing I will say, too, I picked up on it towards the end of last year. I don't know if this is the only reason, but Judge fell off very, very heavily in the second half of the season. And I could just be being crazy, but I swear to God, rookies that go into the home run derby do not have the same swing coming out.
Oh, I don't think any players have. There's a reason that the bigger guys who are on those huge tears never do it, right? Was Harper in it this year?
Nope.
No, I don't think Harper's ever done it, has he?
I don't believe he has.
Yeah, so these guys who absolutely mash during the regular season never do it. And it's probably it just throws you off. You're not seeing that fast pitching. You're not seeing what you're used to doing. And you're just sitting there trying to drop bombs instead of trying to hit gap shots, and they just take off on you.
There you go. All right, so I'm going to jump away.
It's pushing down in a sense. You know, like the guys who are truly mashing during the season, a lot of times if you go into the home run derby, now you have expectations to meet up to. And so you're either going to do what everyone expected and not really wow people, or you're going to underperform. Yeah. So it's not really like you have much to gain aside from winning the home run derby, but
yeah,
it's almost not worth it for the bigger names, the biggest names.
Fair enough. All right, so I am just going to go right out on a limb and say that the rest of the AL East division is not going to be much competition at all. I don't think the Orioles will surprise anybody. Blue Jays, same there. They might win a couple games. Don't expect much. So moving to the Central, I do believe Cleveland will be at the top of that division. However, Minnesota is a team that made a push in the wild card game last year that re-upped its rotation a little bit. And once Santana comes back healthy, I don't know if they'll win the Central Division, but they'll definitely be back in the wild card game, and I think they can get past that depending on who they're playing.
Cleveland's always going to be atop that division for the next 5 years, I think. So I'm not really shocked by that.
They sent down Mike Napoli. I don't know. I don't believe in them anymore.
I don't know.
Good club, not a ton of age. They're a safe bet for a little while.
Yeah, they're. I don't know. I like Cleveland. Maybe it's Francona. Maybe I just like Francona a lot, but I like Cleveland.
I miss Tito. The thing is that their pitching staff it's unbelievable when they're all healthy. They got four aces, arguably.
Kluber's a stud.
Yeah, he's disgusting.
That dude is the real deal. What was it? Didn't he the last World Series they were in? What did he throw 3 games or something like that? Some ridiculous amount of innings or whatever. That dude was.
He's absurd.
Yeah.
All right, heading to the West.
There you go.
Houston. I think that's the obvious bet. I don't know. I'm excited about Shohei Ohtani, or however you say that name, but I don't think the Angels have enough to win the division. Maybe squeak into a wild card spot, but I don't believe that they'll be able to. That could just be.
I mean, if they still had Zach on their team, I think that I think the Astros might have a better shot now.
I think the Astros got better after releasing.
they're average talent level. What up? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. For sure.
I
don't know, man. I can't get rid of a guy like that.
Nope, absolute clubhouse guy. That's what matters. That's what matters.
One thing I will say, touching on them though, is obviously they won it all last year, but even out off a subpar year for his standards, Garrett Cole to that pitching staff, just that's scary, man. That is legit.
They're top to bottom.
Yeah, pretty much 1-9, 1-5 in the rotation, and their bullpen.
It's so easy to go into the season saying that the reigning champs are gonna be good. That's such a easy bet. And then on the other hand, it's so hard to predict a back-to-back. But they made
I don't know. That's real tough. They're definitely equipped to do it, but
that's what I'm saying. They kept their pieces. They even gained more pieces. But at the same time, it's shorter off season, less rest.
Things got to work out a lot in your favor.
Everyone has seen the Major League movies. You know what I mean?
We used to watch Major League every single road trip that we'd have to take a bus.
Oh yeah.
Every time we'd get on that bus, whether it was a hour trip or whether it was a 7.5 hour trip, we were watching Major League. I can tell you like every single word from that movie. It's just,
it's one of the few baseball movies I've seen that gets it right. Like, I don't know. They just did a great job with it.
Major League, it's a classic movie. You can't go away from it. There's a few baseball movies, and I'm sure we'll get into it at some point during the year. But I got Major League in no particular order: Major League, The Natural, Field of Dreams, Sandlot. Kind of a childhood when I was still rookie. I used to like that movie a lot.
Dennis Quaid.
What was the other one? What's the one with what's his name?
Rosenberger. Rowan Gardner.
Well, there's two. Bull Durham. There we go. It's Bull Durham. It's those are the ones that I could roll with. I could do with those for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
You never go wrong with a good baseball movie.
No, absolutely not.
All right, hop over to the National League real quick. In the East, Miami making a joke of baseball. Don't even deserve to talk about them. Atlanta, they got some good young guys, but they're not ready yet. This is where it gets interesting because I think the Mets definitely upgraded, but they are in a division with the Nationals, who are the odds-on favorites. But what I'm most interested in is actually the Philadelphia Phillies. I don't think they're – yeah, I know. I don't think they're all there yet, but I don't think people are giving them enough recognition.
Did I hear you right?
You heard me right.
You said
Their lineup is tough to pitch to. Their lineup is tough.
The last time they had a tough to pitch to lineup, it was like the early Ryan Howard days. I don't even – wait, did Ryan Howard – I can't even remember. I can't remember. That's how bad that is.
It's been a while. I think it's the early 2000s when Shane Victorino and all them were together.
Yeah, there you go. They won a World Series then, didn't they? Or something like that?
Did they win?
I don't know. I have no idea. That's how irrelevant they are. I couldn't tell you the last time
they might have won. I think they might have won.
I don't know.
Phils did just get Arrieta.
They did. That's what I'm saying.
But Arrieta can't pitch 5 days a week.
They got Aaron Nola.
Yes.
Aaron Nola's disgusting.
Yeah.
All right. See, we got some
okay. So drop it down to 3 days a week then.
3 days a week, yeah. Now if they just run days 1, 2, 4, and 5, just whole staff it, just get the bullpen to each throw an inning on game 3.
I love it.
Style, you're good to go.
Yeah, you gotta love the college style. Though my coach was a big fan of starters going like 8 innings for some crazy reason.
You need it. You need those guys. So one thing I wanted to touch on too in the NL East is Bryce Harper is under contract for this year. So is it kind of time to start asking if they don't win it all this year? Is he done? Is he already done there?
Okay. I honestly, you want to hear what I think should happen? The only way that the Red Sox compete in this division with the Yankees is signing Bryce Harper next year. That's why I said
prediction.
That's why I said they should have just passed on everybody this year. See what you can do and just sign that man next year, because next year I'm seeing Machado going to the Yankees.
I think Harper's going to the Yankees.
Well, I'm thinking as a positive thinking Red Sox fan here that Harper comes to the Sox, Machado goes there, and we have an enormous like fireworks show every time they play. But listen, I'm thinking Yankees in LA are your 2 top spots where Harper can land.
Fair enough. Yeah, he's definitely going big market.
He's going to be 500 mil. 500 mil.
I was reading
definitely biggest contract in history.
No.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was reading the Red Sox just became the team with the highest payroll in baseball. So
what?
Yeah, they just crossed the Dodgers. So how do you think they managed to pick up Harper?
Wow, I am shocked. I did not know that.
Also, does that throw a huge wrench into the argument that Red Sox fans always make about the Yankees buying wins?
Oh, okay, all right.
With that.
Yeah, all right, but hear me out on this. When the Yankees were buying their wins, there was no regulation on spending at all.
No, I know. I'm really just kidding.
I know. I know. We're talking back in the day where you could spend as much as you wanted whenever you wanted. And it was like the Canadians winning all of the Stanley Cups when there was like 6 teams. That's what it was like. It was so they were just soaking up all of the talent. They were a sponge, and the rest of the MLB was just watching. That's when they won all their stuff. But nowadays, I think the Sox spending, I don't even know if like 50% of the spending is on the current roster. That's what I mean. Pablo. Yeah, that's what I mean. Their current roster isn't making as much as the guys who are off it. That's why I'll never trust them when it comes to spending money on guys.
All right, heading to the Central. We've got the Cubs. I think easily still the favorites in that division. Cincinnati, not going to see much out of them. Pittsburgh's they've been gutted. No McCutchen. That's kind of been their core guy for a while. Cole's gone, their ace.
That's a smart move, though.
Pittsburgh will do much. They do get some young guys. It is smart. They do get some young guys, but they're not ready yet. And it'll be at least 2 years before you hear them, I think, at least back up the top. Cardinals, I don't know. They always find a way to win, but they don't look good on paper. But they never do.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, they're always decent, but I think they're the Blackhawks of the MLB. They'll always be there, but then they'll just end up collapsing. So my guess is it's going to be this year or next year where they're just non-existent anymore. I'm talking short term too. They'll be non-existent for like 2 or 3, 4 years maybe, and then they'll pop back up.
One of the guys that I grew up with, a really close friend of mine, is a backup catcher for the Reds. And I'm not gonna name drop the whole show or anything, but this one guy in particular is actually a very good friend of mine. So I'm gonna have to just go 100% biased stance, and I'm not going against my guy. I gotta pick Reds. I don't care.
Well, I'm going to go crazy and go with Milwaukee. Yeah, I know. But I think Lorenzo Cain, Christian Yelich with Ryan Braun in the outfield, that's absolutely insane to think about. And I think they're definitely going to have to pick up some sort of starter before the deadline or something. They're not all there, but I mean, I think we saw a little bit of what they can do at the end of last year, and they definitely improved their roster from then.
Yeah.
So that is my pick for the Central. That is my big sleeper, I'd say, this year. Aside from maybe the only other team would be the Rockies in the West, who I also think they got a combo of young guys and veterans. They brought back Cargo, and everybody was happy to have him back in the clubhouse. You know, they got bounced after the wild card game last year. I don't think they were ready anyways. I don't think they would have made it past the next round, even if they had made it there. I don't know. I feel like the Dodgers have not won a World Series in many years where they seem like the odds-on favorite. I don't think they're going to this year either.
Do you think they're worse this year?
I do think the Dodgers are worse. Yeah, they didn't sign Yu Darvish, and they really didn't get much to make up for that. I like the kid Wood, the young kid, but Kershaw hasn't pitched a full season in a few years now, and I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to think about.
Who's the most dominant pitcher in baseball?
Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it's close anymore. It was like a few years ago we were like, man, this guy's having one of the best seasons ever, and then every year it's better.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
It's different, you know. You can make the argument about Scherzer and numbers wise, but it's different watching them pitch. Kershaw controls a game. It's different.
What do you get?
Scherzer's more of a dominant type.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was going to say, at times during the year, you could throw Chris Sale into the argument, but as soon as the dude hits the playoffs, it's like,
if you need strikeouts.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking,
it feels disgusting.
So I will say that last year Chris Sale choked because he had never pitched that amount of innings in his career and never really had the postseason chance with the White Sox. I think this year we're going to see him either not pitch deep into games towards the end of the season, or maybe even get a week or two off, miss a couple starts before the playoffs, and then get a bullpen session in just to make sure he's fresh.
I would rather him see less innings at the beginning of the year than less innings at the end, because
no matter how it ends up happening, I think they need to keep an eye on that. Same thing with Pomerantz. That was a big problem when he came over here too.
I'm a big fan of when you stop something, when you're doing something all season long, you stop it for even the smallest amount of time, be it 2 weeks, 2 misses, coming back out, you lose a step.
Oh yeah.
So if you keep them on a leash the first, what do you want to say, 5 starts of the year, maybe then after that you start going longer. That way, by the time he hits that peak at the end of the year, I mean, the dude's full swing. He's pumping like he was mid-season, and he hasn't missed a step for the playoffs either. And in theory, he's a little bit more fresh. I've never been one to think that you can necessarily get super tired from that, but it is a long season. So
it's also tough to tell a guy in the bigs to at any moment, you know,
especially Chris Sale.
Like, he'll just take some scissors to all the jerseys.
That's exactly what he's going to do.
You better hope he doesn't take it to a person if you tell him this year.
All right.
Can we touch on that for a second? Because was that story not absolutely insane?
Listen, that story might have been insane, but it brought him to the Red Sox, so I'm perfectly fine.
You're right. So what exactly was it? They were wearing a different type of jersey?
It was like a throwback. It was itchy. They were complaining it was itchy.
See, all right. Yeah, so I guess it was he was pitching that day, and he said, I don't want to wear the jerseys. Oh, they basically told him, well, Chris, that's not really your decision. So he cut them off.
That we've advertised for quite a while.
Yeah. So he literally chopped up the jerseys. But what I don't understand is this is modern day baseball, where everything is made for performance, right? So the uniforms are made for performance. Even I got right here the flex base jerseys. These things are ridiculously comfortable. So why not make a flex base jersey? Yeah, right. That ain't paying me for it, so better start. So why not make a flex base uniform that looks identical to like an old school one?
Exactly, with whatever look you want.
Exactly. You can make them look however you want. They're going to give you the same look. It's just not going to be 85 pounds and sweaty. Like, right. That just seems like a quick fix. And I thought that's what they did. Like, I thought those were the uniforms that they ended up doing, because that would make sense.
Past us.
That would make sense that they just, I mean, you have to wear league approved stuff. So why wouldn't they just make those uniforms the league standard? It makes no sense. So if that was the case, and if they were the league approved standard, which I have no idea, I haven't really looked at it in a while, but if they were, that means Chris Sale didn't just like the color of the jersey. So right. That dude is a psycho.
We talked about it when it happened. We said, how quickly do you guys think you get released if you pull that exact same move? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to have a lot of leverage to just take scissors to an entire team.
I mean, if he's not Chris Sale and he's anybody else on the White Sox, I don't think he has a job.
Dude, they traded him. They didn't even release him. They traded him. So
they got value for him.
A lot of value too. I don't know how Makado's doing now, but I mean, Makado was supposed to be the next big thing. Like, he was supposed to be the guy. And they traded for him, and I think they got more stuff out of it too. And that's how much value they'll have.
I think they'll get more out of Kopech than they will Moncada. He's been...
Yeah, I agree. Now, Moncada's a bust. He's totally bust.
I didn't want to go out on a limb and say that, but he's had some big league time, and he hasn't shown me anything crazy yet.
The same guy, same in that situation. I'm still not a Xander Bogaerts guy. I used to be the biggest Xander Bogaerts guy on the planet. He was coming up. I was pumped. I was like, this guy's the next like Nomar Garcia Power for the Sox. And he came up, and he has not done anything to impress me.
Wow.
No, nothing. The new kid who they got, Chavez, that kid's a beast. Yeah. That kid's a beast. He's setting like minor league records right now for home runs. That's who I want. I don't want a guy who maybe makes like one of every 7 ground balls he picks up. And
So you're the typical
first
baseball fan. You're the new baseball fan. You only want to see home runs.
That's right.
No, I want to see guys who can hit
You
forever.
change the baseballs too, don't you?
Oh, shut up. I am talking about defense first of all. Okay, Bogarts. This guy's fielding percentage is garbage to begin with. I don't even know what it is, but I can tell you off the top of my head that it's garbage. The only guy who I'm willing to put up with the errors for a little bit is Rafael Devers, and that's because he hits the ball everywhere. Okay,
I'll give you that.
So
he does have to work on his defense. Though.
I'll take an error here and there from him, only for the rest, like for this season, maybe halfway through the season. But Bogarts is a guy who's been here for a while, so there's no excuse anymore. I mean, Fenway probably has all of these fields are tailor-made for shortstops anyway. So there's no excuse to be missing ground balls and botching them and everything like that. So I'm not a Bogarts guy. I'm really not. Not until he proves. And I don't care about home runs as much. For me, the shortstop is an average hitter, not the power hitter. I'm not thinking mid-90s through like now where shortstop's a power bat. I'm thinking guys who just smack the ball all places in the field, but who have an insane glove, strong arm, accurate, can do everything with a glove on the defensive side. That's what I want to see out of a shortstop, and Bogarts doesn't even bring that anymore.
Yeah, it's one of the positions where you can get offensive leeway.
Yeah, I agree. But like you were accusing me of, a lot of people believe that the shortstop is a power bat, and I just don't believe that at all. So
I'll say one of the rare breeds of this time, at least, but since the late '90s, early thousands, Carlos Correa is the only shortstop that I've seen that can do it all. I mean, I know Trevor Story had that little brief power period where he was hitting them every game.
Yeah, but Correa is terrifying if you're an opposing team. Every time he gets to the plate, you don't know what can happen, but you know he's probably getting on base.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you got him. If you're talking shortstops.
And age-wise, too. I mean, he's got the frame, and he's young. He could play for forever. He might play forever.
He's going to play forever, Johnny. Yeah, he's that kid is he's special. I can't even, off the top of my head, Corey Seager is the guy who comes to mind. But again, Seager defensively, I don't know if he's close to Correa. Offensively, he drops bombs.
I'm anxious to see how the Astros handle that eventually, right? That team has to explode at some point. I mean, they've got a lot of guys.
I don't know how they can afford it all.
Yeah, they have a lot of guys. You they don't want to get rid of Altuve.
No.
They don't want to get rid of Correa.
How old is Altuve?
Altuve just got an extension for 5 years. Crazy amount of money.
Yeah, a lot of money.
Yeah, so at the end of that contract, do you think they'll pick it up? If it comes down to out, so if it comes down after that, so my guess is Altuve's gone after the next 5 years of his contract.
He'll be 32,
and he'll be 32. He'll be looking for decent money, but you got to pick between Correa or a 32-year-old second baseman.
Well, yeah. And so what I was saying was, you've got Correa, you've got Altuve, 2 huge faces in the league. Not going to want to get rid of. But neither one of those guys was even the World Series MVP. You have other guys that are studs. Like there's just no way they can hold on to all that. And I think that's why they made the offseason moves. They're trying to push for that back-to-back because they know eventually
it's going to implode, yeah.
It has to. Every championship team does.
Especially when they're that young. It's coming because, like you said, you just can't afford it. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about the fact that they couldn't afford it. But
plus you got Bregman.
I will say, too, the Red Sox are actually not in a similar position, but Mookie had that arbitration thing, and I know a ton of guys. I don't know exactly the number aspect of it, but the whole group of young guys that we brought up in our farm system, the next couple of years, we're gonna have to get rid of at least one of them because once they get real contracts not up there.
Yeah. Get rid of, if it's coming down to it, I'm saying Mookie and Bradley are gone after this year.
You're bugging. They can't let Mookie go.
Who do you want, Benintendi or Mookie?
Mookie.
Really?
Yes. Every day of the week.
Stud.
Mookie is a stud, but so is Benintendi.
No, that's what I'm saying. Benintendi's a stud.
Oh yeah, Benintendi's a stud. So Mookie's a stud, but Benintendi is like, this kid comes along every now and then. I mean, Mookie's good, but Benintendi is one of the guys who can do it all, and how old is he? How old are both of them, really?
Well, Benintendi, I faced Benintendi in college, so I think he's younger than I am. So 24, maybe. He's a stud. 23. I just looked it up. 23.
Wow. All right, so 23. So let's put this together. The Sox got, off the top of my head, they got a third baseman in the minors right now that's pretty good. They got a shortstop who is tremendous. They got Devers up right now. So my guess is those are your three guys going forward. Shortstop, third base, second base. Outfield wise, you're gonna have Benintendi. And how long did they sign? What's his name for? New guy. It's not coming to me. That's missing.
JD?
JD, yeah.
Was it 4 or 3? I don't know. Forget.
So where do you see him playing in? I mean, he's going to be a DH, but I figure you can put him in there just as a.
He'll play the outfield, but he'll mostly DH.
Yeah. All right. So we'll stick him at DH. Then you got.
To be honest, I'd rather Jackie Bradley get sent.
Well, obviously, I mean, if you got those three guys, Jackie Bradley's definitely your lowest one. But we're talking a realistic here, where you got to pick one. You're going to either have Benintendi or you're going to have Mookie.
Well, so I think the main question comes down to, do you think Benintendi can handle doing an interview while also chasing balls that burn him in the outfield?
I guess that's the deciding factor.
That could be a modern part of baseball. The way that it's going right now.
I do think that video going viral is going to go into Mookie's arbitration.
Yeah, especially if they start adding those interviews regularly. That could be part of
That's right.
Be part of it. I don't know, the guy that I was loving, who might not be back next year, is Brock Holt.
I would be okay with that. I like him, but we don't really have a spot for him. No. Maybe if he wants to wait around until Pedroia is done, but we have Nunez who does the same thing, even a little better.
Yeah, but if we're talking future-wise, neither of them are going to be part of it, Nunez or Holt, really, because they got guys that are young. They got some pretty big studs in the minors. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's before we start wrapping this up, I just want to hear each of your picks to come out on top of the division. I know it's early, and give me the 2 wild card games if you can. Joe, you can start first. Who do you get out of the AL East?
Ooh. Don't start with me. Don't start with me. I got that was on the spot.
Yeah. For this.
All right, I'll give it to you my official predictions then, just so you can get your ideas flowing.
All right, let's see.
I'm going with the Yankees out of the East, Cleveland out of the Central, and Houston out of the West, with the Red Sox and Twins playing in the wild card game. I have Washington winning the NL East, Milwaukee winning the Central, and the Dodgers winning the West, with the Rockies and the Cubs playing in the wild card game.
Yeah, I'll give you my now that I had a chance to pull up the divisions.
Very easy cop out of I just agree with Mike.
Yeah, no, I could have used that, but I went through looking up the stuff. Let's see. Out East, I'm going to stick with you. Say Yankees. Central will go Indians. I think that's a pretty safe bet, like we said earlier. Houston out of the West, move over to the National League. National's definitely going to rip that one up. The Central is the division that's throwing me off a little bit. It's
the Brewers are like a coin toss at the moment.
Yeah.
Have extreme upside, but it's not. How do you know? You just can't know yet.
No, they could play it safe and go Cubs. That's probably the move I'm going to do. And then Out in the West. Give me the Dodgers. Give me the Dodgers.
What's your wild card games?
You can't be asking me that.
Can't be asking you that.
No, you can't be asking me that. But all right. I'll give you some teams that pop up. Obviously, going to be the Sox in the East because those other teams really aren't going to hold a candle to what they got going on with the Yankees. I just think the Yankees are better. I want to say the Tigers.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to say Tigers. I don't know why I want to say Tigers, but I kind of want to say Tigers. National League.
I'm gonna just tell you now, the Tigers will not be there. But
I can't believe you said the Phillies earlier, your team, because I'm like looking down the NL right now and I see them and I still laugh every time I see them.
Look up their lineup. I'm telling you.
I don't care. They're the Phillies. It's like if the Jets got, I don't know,
It's
literally
like
anybody
it's like
good.
The Browns loading up their offense last week.
Yeah, exactly. They're still the Browns. They're still gonna mess up. Reds and Giants.
Wow.
Yeah.
Reds, my guy.
Yeah, out of those teams there, I hate the Cardinals with a passion, so I just can't pick them. It's mostly Cardinals fans that I don't like. So, those are my guys. Those are my extremely long, drawn out segment of telling you guys who I'm going to pick because I had to look it up.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these are going to be mirrored at this point, but I'll say, let's see, looking at them now, much too early to predict. I'll go AL East. Yankees. Central. Yeah, probably Indians. I think the Indians are your safest bet. West, Astros. NL East. I don't know. That's a tough one. I may just coin toss here. I'll probably just go Nationals. And then Central, like I said earlier, man, got to go Reds.
Go Reds.
I can't. Yeah, got to go Reds. Let's go. Hashtag from episode 1, got to go Reds.
Your buddy better appreciate that.
NL West, I'll probably go Dodgers. Yeah. Dodgers.
There you have it.
There you go. There's the predictions.
All right, boys. Well, we're gonna get this thing wrapped up here, but I just want to reach out to everyone and let them know to follow Comic Relievers on Twitter. That's at Comic Relievers, and there'll be information there about upcoming episodes, as well as chances for you guys to reach out to us and have us answer some questions or address some things going on, and we'll get it on the show for you.
Before we go, Porter has faith in the Sox. He's watching
Porter
right
has
now.
faith, and I like Porter.
He's watching now. So quick shout out to him picking the Sox. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, he's on next show.
There we go.
There you go.
Maybe we'll get a hit his aspect because we got a couple
on fire.
We're gonna have to have a segment like once every week if we're doing 2 shows. We'll have him come on and just give him his batter's perspective.
Yeah, we gotta just crush him the whole time.
We gotta let him know that the staffleets run the show, though.
That's right.
Staffleets, baby.
Most important thing.
We are athletes too. Just because our practices are spent running doesn't mean we're not athletes.
I think that makes us athletes even more, if anything, to be honest with you.
There you go. Absolutely. We actually do things.
Pitchers, best athlete.
Best athletes. Staffleets. Let's go.
Staffleets.
Yeah.
All right, boys.
Wrap it up, Mikey.
Good show, everybody. We'll see you next time.